Good evening and welcome to the Beiniger Herrscher Treffen, the tripods meeting in Hechingen, Germany in August 2010. I'm Robin Hayter, who played Fritz in the BBC series, Series 2, and I've been asked to perhaps do a short reading from The Pool of Fire, John Christopher's third book in the Tripods trilogy. So obviously this is written in the first person of Will. I won't try and do Will's accent. I shall just read it as myself, and there are one or two lines where Fritz comes in, so I'll do my best. So we're at a stage in the Tripod City where Will and Fritz have found the supply, the underwater river where the heated water is pumped up to provide the pools for the masters, where the masters bathe, etc., and they're pumped up to the top of the pyramids. And Will and Fritz have found these places, and they intend to put something in the water to disable the master's power over the city. So let's do the reading now. So for those of you who have an English copy of The Pool of Fire, it starts on page 383 from The Pool of Fire. So actually it doesn't, it starts on 377. In the nights that followed, we worked frantically to build up supplies. There was a plentiful supply of containers made of a stuff like glass, but yielding a little to touch, and we filled these with the product of our labours. There would not have been room for them on the platform, but we were able to stack them along the side of the tunnel. I prayed that there would be no blockage in the water inflow calling for inspection during this time. It did not seem likely that there would. The system was obviously designed for an emergency and had probably not been used since the city was built. It was an exhausting life. In the tunnel, one had some escape from the heat, but the extra gravity still pulled one down, and there was still the need to wear face masks. We were badly short of sleep also. There were only about 12 hours a day during which it was practicable to use the communal rooms, and we had to take our rest in shifts. It could be frustrating when the place was full of slaves. On one occasion, dog-tired, I got there to find every couch occupied. I dropped and slept on the hard floor until I was awakened by a hand on my shoulder, and realised with aching eyes and protesting limbs that I must get up again, put on my mask and go out into the green mist that was our nearest approach to daylight. But time passed, and slowly our supplies built up. We were working to a schedule and met our target with nearly a week to spare. We went on making alcohol. It was better than simply marking time and waiting, and the higher the concentration we managed to get into the master's water supply, the more effective, presumably, it was likely to be. We had already identified the conduit leading from the inner pool which supplied the drinking water system. We were ready for the day and hour that had been arranged. At last it came. The precise timing offered one major snag. We had no idea how soon the effects of alcohol would start showing in the masters, nor at what stage they would begin to realise that something was wrong. The three cities we knew were in communication with each other, and it would not do for one to alert the others to a danger that could be averted, so the drinking water in each had to be tampered with at roughly the same time. And there, of course, we faced the problem set by the fact that our world was a globe, revolving around the sun. The water purification plants had a daytime staff of masters who looked after the machines on 3 separate shifts but were unattended at night. It had been realised that 2 out of the 3 attempts could be made into this interval, one just after the day's work ended, the other not long before it began. That meant that for the 3rd city it had to be not far from midday when the sabotage attempt was made. It had been agreed without question that ours was the expedition which must handle this. We had the advantage of being closer to headquarters and of having in our number 2 who knew the city from experience. It was up to us somehow to complete our task while masters were actually on duty at the plant. We gave it a lot of thought. Although we had got away with carting pieces of equipment around, and the 4 newcomers had grown so used to the presence of the masters as to be almost contemptuous of them, this did not happen with Fritz or me, whose memories were still sharp and bitter. It was extremely unlikely that they would fail to query it if they saw us carrying containers out from the tunnel and emptying into one of the conduits. This was, after all, their own special department, and any humans working there would be under their orders. One of us suggested posing as a slave with a message, calling them all away to some other part of the city. Since they never mistrusted the slaves, they would not doubt the genuineness of it. Fritz dismissed the idea. It would be a strange message, and they might think the slave confused. They would be likely to check with other masters, perhaps in the place to which they were told to go. Remember that they can talk to each other at long distances. In any case, I am sure that they would not all go. One, at least, would stay at the machines. Then what? There is only one possibility, really. We looked at him, and I nodded. We must use force.